Hi folks, welcome back. I hope that trigonometry summative assessment went pretty well for you. We spent about 2.5 weeks on that unit, 3 weeks almost, I think, actually. And we took it slow, and it seemed from the daily work that you were doing real well. So I'm hopeful that that went well. And I'll be getting that back to you soon. So we're going to be starting a new unit now. That's going to take us a few weeks. And so today is really basic. I just want to introduce you to a little bit of vocabulary. I could have just put the vocab out there and had you go look it up and such, but I just quickly want to go over a little bit of it here, and then the practice assignment is just going to be basically going over the vocabulary and kind of making sure that you can classify some of these things. So it shouldn't take you too long in these next couple of days. So I know the test was a little intensive at the beginning of this week, so at the end of this week, we'll back off the gas a little bit and just get the ball rolling with this unit in a real kind of gentle way. So this unit is going to be about polygons and finding area of two-dimensional polygons. Polygons are flat figures that are two-dimensional. Eventually, at the end of this course, we'll be getting into three-dimensional stuff. But for now, this unit is going to be focused on two-dimensional figures finding area, which we'll get into that later. So first of all, polygons, probably most shapes that you can think of, not all, but a lot of the shapes that you would pop into your mind if I said the word shape are polygons, okay? So what actually is a polygon? There's really three major criteria. One, it has to begin and end in the same place, okay? It has to begin and end in the same place. So like if I were to make a figure and I draw this like this, that's not a polygon. Not a polygon, because it doesn't begin and end in the same place, okay? So that's not a polygon, okay? It has to be made up of all line segments, okay? So polygon has to begin and end in the same place, and it has to be made up of all line segments. It can't have any curves. So something like this, that's not a polygon, because it has a curved part to it, right? Not a polygon. So circles, not polygons, okay? So I know at the beginning I said most shapes you can think of probably are polygons, but circles are not. So polygons have to be made up of all line segments. And then also they can't cross over themselves. So this first one here, even if I had finished it, even if I had gone like this, that's not a polygon, because it crosses over itself, okay, in the middle. So that's not a polygon either. So polygons have three criteria. They begin and end in the same place, they're made up of all line segments, and they don't cross over themselves, okay? So in order to be a polygon, so most things that you can think of, triangles, rectangles, other types of quadrilaterals, pentagons, octagons, those are all polygons, because they all meet this criteria. They begin and end in the same place, they're made up of all line segments, there's no curves in them, and they don't cross over themselves, okay? So, that being said, let's classify polygons based off the number of sides. Again, you can look this up. You can do a quick Google and look this up, and it's all common information, but they have names, and a lot of these names that you probably know. So let's talk briefly about the number of sides and then what the name is. I think most people, we would know, hopefully at this point, 3 sides, that's called a triangle. And that's a polygon. So polygon is the general term for all of these shapes, right? Triangle is a type of polygon. It's a 3-sided polygon. 4-sided polygon, you might think, oh, square or rectangle. Those are more specific names. Then we'll get into that down the road. But in general, a 4-sided polygon is called a quadrilateral. Quad meaning 4. So yes, rectangles and squares and all those are all types of quadrilaterals. But the general name for a 4-sided polygon is a quadrilateral. 5-sided pentagon, right? Most popular ones, probably like the house, right? Pentagon type of thing. 6 hexagon, your waffle cone, hexagon, 6 sides. 7 sides, not seen that often. And actually, a couple different names out there. Heptagon sometimes. I've actually heard it called a septagon. Heptagon is the one I hear more often. But this one, not very often you run into a 7-sided figure. It's an odd number. You don't see it that often. Okay? 8 should be pretty familiar. Octagon. Right? 9 is another one that, like, you don't see that often. Right? And again, I've heard of a few different names for 9. Nonagon is the one that you'll hear most often. But it's like 7. 9 and 7 are very, you just don't see them that often in real applications. 10 is a decagon. 11 you almost never see. I've heard it called an undecagon, other things. So I'm not even going to write the name down for 11. You can Google it. It gives you like 2 or 3 different things. I've actually never even really taught 11 or stressed about 11 much. 12 I have heard of. That's a dodecagon. And that, again, being an even amount, you start to get to this many sides, and it starts to be hard to determine the difference between a dodecagon and a circle, because the sides are so, so spread out that you're starting to look more and more like a circle when you get down to this amount. Okay, so those are some of the classifications of polygons based on the number of sides. A lot of these terms you probably have heard before. Okay, so this is just a quick introduction to talking about polygons. What is a polygon? How to classify a polygon based off the number of sides. The more common ones are, your 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 are your most common. And then it starts to get down here. Decagon, yeah, I've heard that's a pretty well-known name, but you start to get too many sides, and it really you just don't see it as often. Okay, so I want you to go over this vocabulary. I'm going to have a little practice for you to do to just go over this vocabulary, and that's going to be it for the rest of the week. So that shouldn't take you too long. You should have a little time to kind of decompress after the test. And then next week we'll start getting into working with these polygons and finding areas and kind of focusing in on some of that. Okay, so look for the practice assignment that goes over this vocabulary, and if you have any questions, let me know. But other than that, it shouldn't take you too long, and use some of the time to relax and get work done in your other class. All right, take care.